How's it going, everybody? My name is Dermot Luchart. I am the president of Flagstaff High School's International Thespian Society Troupe number 6910, as well as the host of this podcast, and welcome to Mom, Dad, I'm a Thespian. Now, this week, we have another interview with a member of the community coming at you. This time, we have our drama club member. Some of you may remember him from this year's production of Arsenic and Old Lace, or last year's production of The Music Man. We have our good friend Matthew Sutphen interviewing his mom, Kathleen Leatherwood, about FMT, which is another theater group in town. So, without any further ado, I'll just go ahead and send it over to them.
All right, and welcome to Kathleen Leatherwood, who also happens to be my mom, onto the podcast here to talk about FMT. So why don't you give us a little bit of history about Flag Music Theater?
Oh, I'd be happy to, Matthew. So Flagstaff Music Theater is actually celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. It was founded in 1995 by Mike Casey, Charles Spinning, Sean and Susanna Rivera-Mills, and the late, great Kay Poen, who just passed away recently. The five of them actually had gotten together and presented a program of various musical scenes and began to discuss the fact that, at least at that time, there weren't any theater groups in town that specialized in musical theater. And so they decided to form their own group, and in 1995, Flagstaff Light Opera Company began its run. The first show that they did was in 1995. They did Gilbert and Sullivan's Pirates of Penzance, followed by Rodgers and Hammerstein's Oklahoma in 1996. And so from there, from that time, they worked to do two full-scale productions each year. And because of their work and dedication and passion, they paved the way for Flagstaff Music Theater as it stands today.
So I know FMT has received some changes recently. Can you go into more detail as to what those changes have been?
Sure, yeah. In the last 2 decades in Flagstaff, there's been many new theater groups that have emerged. A lot of them with a focus on musicals now. There have been some youth groups that have come up, and existing groups such as Theatricos have now added musical productions to their seasons. Over the years, Flaglight Opera Company has had various board members, volunteers through its long history. And in the last couple years, it was decided that the company, which had specialized in Gilbert and Sullivan operettas and more traditional classic musicals, should be taken in a new direction, kind of a fresh direction. And so the original Flagstaff Light Opera Company changed its name to Flagstaff Music Theater for a more modern sound, and also to reflect a shift in emphasis of our focus from operettas to more contemporary theater. Recent FMT productions include shows that range from Legally Blonde, Next to Normal, 9 to 5, Reefer Madness, and then most recently Mamma Mia.
Does FMT have any specific mission?
I would say the mission of Flagstaff Music Theater is to bring the musical theater experience to a wide variety of audiences. So you can expect to see in the future a mix of edgy, more adult-themed shows, like the before-mentioned Next to Normal, which is a musical about a mentally ill woman who is in and out of reality, struggling to cope with and accept the death of her son. And then Reefer Madness, which is a satirical rock musical based on the 1936 movie cult classic of the same name, that warns its audience of the path of destruction that can result caused by marijuana use. And then ranging to more family-friendly fare, such as our most recent production of Mamma Mia, which is a lighthearted jukebox-style musical featuring the songs of ABBA.
So recently, Flag High's drama club director Shane Smith has worked with FMT on productions like Mamma Mia. What was that like?
Well, yeah, last November's production of Mamma Mia was a collaboration with Shane Smith, the director of theater arts and bands at Flag High, and his students. After seeing a couple of productions that you were actually a part of, 12 Angry Jurors and The Music Man, I was so impressed by the professionalism and quality of the shows that we decided to approach Mr. Smith about directing Mamma Mia, the show that we had scheduled for November 2019. This resulted in really what ended up being an incredible collaboration between Mr. Smith, his students, and FMT. Shane envisioned a beautiful set, which was realized and brought to life by Flock veteran and set designer and builder extraordinaire Randy Beaumont. Shane and his students worked alongside and under the mentorship of Randy to complete this truly incredible set. It was just beautiful. Mr. Smith's students also ran the sound and lighting for each one of the shows, which were performed in the main auditorium at Flag High. It ended up being a wonderfully fun and positive experience for the cast, the crew, and ultimately the audience, and proved to be a major success for FMT. This opened the door, hopefully, not only for future collaborations with Flag High, but we hope with other theatrical organizations in Flagstaff as well.
So as we watch the collapse of Western civilization, how has FMT been handling this pandemic?
Well, like all other groups in town, we're temporarily in this state of limbo, but we're still working to move forward. We just recently announced our 2021 season. The Last 5 Years by Jason Robert Brown is our next scheduled production. Depending on the duration of closures, we hope to premiere this production in late summer, early fall. If we are not able to present it on stage, if we're not able to have an audience, we are looking into the possibility of streaming it online as well. For the fall, we have Cabaret, the Candor and Ebb musical set in 1931 Berlin during the rise of the Nazis and focusing on life in a seedy nightclub. That's scheduled for fall, and that is to be followed by Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, scheduled for the spring of 2021. Now, of course, like everyone else, these dates are subject to change depending on what happens with the pandemic, but we look forward to returning to the stage when it is safe to do so.
How would people go about, like, auditioning or directing or volunteering for any future shows?
Well, we would love to see people from all over our community audition or volunteer to help behind the scenes. I think a lot of times with community theater, our group included, there's definitely a stigma around it of the group just casting their own or maybe not being welcoming to new people, and that is certainly something that we want to change. We would love to see people from all over the community and have everybody feel welcome and know that they will get a fair chance with our group, so that we can see new talent up there alongside veterans and people from other organizations all on the same stage. We had a wonderful young lady come in for Reefer Madness, actually. It was her first production with FMT, and that was Miss Allie Stewart. And because of that, she ended up joining the cast as the lead, Sophie, in our most recent production of Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia also welcomed the wonderful comedic talents of Sarah Ryan, who had not done anything with our group before, and actually she had said not really done much theater at all, aside from playing violin in one of her kids' productions. So that was really wonderful to have some new talent up there. So what I would say for people who are interested in auditioning for us is to look for our Facebook page at this time. We do have a new website that's under construction that we hope to launch in the next month or so. But for now, you can watch for notifications about auditions and directing and volunteer opportunities on our Facebook page, Flagstaff Music Theater.
Do you have any advice for, like, theater kids during this time for us to keep active? Any activities you would recommend, or movies to watch, or anything?
Well, the interesting thing about this very unique time in history is that there are, first of all, a lot of fantastic streaming opportunities where you can see anything from opera at the Met to Shakespeare plays being performed at the Globe. To Andrew Lloyd Webber has been releasing a lot of his musicals to be seen online. On YouTube, there just recently was a wonderful celebration of the 90th birthday of Stephen Sondheim, featuring a huge range of incredibly talented artists performing his work. And in addition to that, gaining some inspiration from that, it's a wonderful time for students to be really expanding their repertoire, working on that monologue that you've been interested in, learning the songs that you'd like to add to your portfolio so that you have them ready for future auditions and performing experiences.
Do you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to give out?
Yeah, I would just like to encourage everyone to help support your local theater organizations through this time in any way you possibly can, big or small. I mean, it's a time when money is very tight, so it could be something as simple as tuning into a podcast like this or sharing information as theater groups move forward. If you are interested in donating, I know that any of the theater groups in town, Flagstaff Music Theater included, would certainly welcome any type of donation. There are also organizations in town such as Flag Shakes who have set up an artist support fund specifically. And you can support them in that way, or you can support a group like Theatricos by going to their website, perhaps purchasing a ticket for a feature show or season tickets just to help them through this time. There really are countless ways that you can help keep theater alive in Flagstaff. But I just hope everyone stays safe and stays well, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, and now back to Dermot.
Well, thank you very much to Kathleen Leatherwood. Thank you very much to Matthew Sutphen for that interview. Now, this week on the podcast, we're super excited to announce a new segment that we're going to be doing hopefully every week. We are going to have a member of our Thespian Society or our drama club, or both, just a member of our Flagstaff High School theater community, be performing a song or a monologue for you every week here on the podcast. So now, very first, we've got our good friend Nicholas Warter. And now, Nick, you may recognize from our production earlier this year of Arsenic and Old Lace. So let's go ahead and turn that over to him for that monologue.
Hello, my name is Nick Warter, and I will be doing the monologue Belief by an unknown author. He stopped believing. That's it. That's why he failed. He quit. So much talent, so much potential, but he stopped believing in himself. He lost his way because he couldn't figure out what to do next with his career, and I guess all the stress added up and finally broke him. His music was great. I would listen to it all the time. It would get me into a pumped-up emotional state, and his lyrics never got old. No one gave him a chance. But I think that in today's world, that doesn't matter. He didn't give himself the chance to take control of his career the way I knew he could have. Maybe it was fear from doubting himself and it crippled his ambition. He did it for so long with no financial gain, no recognition for his genius. He couldn't do it no more. It pains me because I believe in the guy more than he believed in himself. He forgot the number one lesson, which is to do what you love for the sake of the journey. Nothing is more rewarding than that. He lost sight of that. He forgot what it's all about. It's not about money or fame or compliments. It's about expressing yourself, because it's what your soul needs to do, and enjoy the process. He lost track of that enjoyment, and Instead, found himself caught up with what most people get stuck on. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Nick for that wonderful monologue. We're super excited to have this segment start being on the show, and we're super excited to be able to showcase how much fantastic talent that we have at the Flagstaff High School drama department. So, yeah, keep an ear out every single week for that. So, the next thing we have to talk about is another theater company in Flagstaff doing something kind of fun. So here's what I got for you. Live from the Theater Basement is a new podcast streaming show from Theatricos Theater Company, and it goes into previews starting with a live show on this Sunday, May 3rd at 7:30 p.m. The first thing they'll be doing is a 10-minute short play, The Psychological, Thought-Provoking Sweet Child of Mine, featuring Tony Sutera and yours truly. I play one of the characters in that, so it'll be very exciting. Live from the Theater Basement is in previews for a couple of months, and it's expected to formally launch in early summer. To watch live, all you have to do is go to the Theatricos Facebook page, and you should also be able to find it wherever you get your podcasts. So that'll be super exciting. I'm very excited to be a part of that, very excited that we get to share that with you. So yeah, go ahead and tune into that later this week. And I will, hopefully, you'll see me there. But anyway, make sure that you guys are staying theatrical, keeping up with what you're doing. We'll figure it out. We'll get through it. Have a wonderful week. And until then, good night. Good night. Parting in such sweet sorrow. And I will talk at you next week.